Hello, everybody, and welcome to It's Always Sunny in Phoenix, a weekly podcast where we keep you up to date on everything Phoenix Suns basketball. So we're going to come out with 2 episodes again this week. So we're going to recap the last week's games, preview the next game against the Knicks, and then we're going to talk about TJ Warren a little bit on this one. So be looking out for that second episode of the week on Thursday. And I'm Charlie. I have David and Mitch with me. What's up, dudes?
You know, one of these days we're going to record at like a normal time, and I'm not going to be dead on the inside and the outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit late, but we're just that dedicated to this team, this 7-win team.
I just like going late in the evening so I have something to blame all my screw-ups on. Yeah, it was late, I was tired, but...
It's a good excuse.
Yep, so now that I've put down the excuse... You better get a hold of us on social media. Hit us up on Twitter at Sunny and PHX Pod. Check out the Facebook under the name Phoenix Suns, multiple sources. Our email is sunnyandphxpod@gmail.com. And of course, check out the website at sunnyandphxpod.com. And also, the t-shirt shop. You got to check it out. tpublic.com/user/sunnyandphx. Got a couple new designs up there. They're looking pretty fresh. I'd recommend one. So what are you guys thinking about it?
Well, I'm gonna actually buy one really soon, and I'm gonna buy 7 of them and just hand them out to random people on the street.
That's a great idea. This is a time of giving, and you know what would be better to give than something that says Sunny and PHX podcast on it. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Absolutely. So, you know, we've been going pretty wild with our pitches for these, so we're keeping this one tame. And let's just move right into these game recaps. And this last week, since we recorded, we had 3 games that were tight heading into the fourth quarter. And in the first one, the Suns couldn't come away with the victory and fell to the Indiana Pacers 109-94. Paul George was just too much for the Suns, scoring 25 points and pulling down 13 rebounds for the Pacers. And the Suns actually beat the Pacers in the first matchup this season in Indiana, but in that one they were without the aforementioned Paul George. So, with George, the Pacers look like a pretty solid team. And, you know, they might not be an Eastern Conference championship contender, but they're a team that could give some guys some trouble when we get into the playoffs. So let's start it off with this stat of the game. David, you're up.
Yeah, so my stat of the game is Bledsoe leading the team in points. Yeah, he had 15 points and led our team in points. That's not very good at all. But hey, someone had to show up, kind of.
Yeah, Bledsoe did kind of show up in this one, but he's been the guy that has been showing up for us lately. It's just in this month of December, he's been great for us. He's well over 20 points per game. I'm not sure the exact number, but dude's looking good so far this month.
Yeah, he's looking great. So I guess even when he sucks, he's still leading the team in scoring. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the spin on that, and it's just not coming to me.
He was the least bad player of the game.
He was the least terrible. I'm good with that.
There we go. All right, and for my stat of the game, sadly, I'm not even going to talk about the Suns in this one, but mine's going to be the 20 points by Miles Turner. Turner shot 7 for 11 from the floor, and 3 for 4 of those came from downtown. And I'm pretty sure on the scouting report, it says in all capital letters, even though this guy's a center, he can shoot the ball. But we just didn't pick him up when he was around the perimeter, and I don't know if that was a mental error or someone just couldn't get it through their head, but we were leaving him open and he made us pay. But really, I just like Miles Turner. He went 2 picks before Booker in that draft, and he was kind of a guy that I had my eye on that I wanted the Suns to take. So definitely happy we got Booker, but Turner's a good player. Enjoy watching him play.
Yeah, Miles Turner is awesome, and he looks like SpongeBob's house, and that's just a positive in my book.
Why not?
Also known as a pineapple.
Yeah, well, SpongeBob's house actually has like the windows and the mouth
True.
of
Okay.
like the door,
I see
so
that.
that's what I'm rolling with.
Okay. I get that.
It's late. Leave me alone, Mitch.
Okay, well, I'm not going to leave you alone because I'm going to impose my stat of the game on you right now.
Impose it on me.
And
Force it against my will. Call me daddy. What?
What?
okay. Well, my stat of the game is going to be you're laughing now, but this is a depressing stat. We had 31 personal fouls in this game, and it led to 41 free throw attempts for the Pacers, and they made 32 of those 41 free throws.
So that's a real killer.
Yeah, that is far too many times to send a team to the free throw line, and all these fouls are getting a little rough. It seems like they're just more mental errors than anything. It seems like we've been putting ourselves in the wrong or bad position on defense, and really we're just kind of at the mercy of who's ever shooting the ball. If they want to pick up that foul, it seems like we're always in their way. So definitely the defensive IQ as a whole unit needs to improve, if you ask me.
Faux shizzle.
Completely agree.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to the Lakers game. It was last Friday. Made the quick trip to LA, and we came away with the W, 119 to 115. And the Suns were up 9 heading into the fourth quarter before Lou Williams and the Lakers got things rolling, but it was just a bit too late for them. And shout out to Lou Williams, just huge for the Lakers. He's scored 137 points off the bench in this game and the 3 leading up to it. And that was a record for points off the bench in a 4-game span. So, and last time we played the Lakers, I believe Lou Williams got quite a few buckets on us. So Williams put up the 35 in this one, but it didn't matter because the birthday boy, Eric Bledsoe, put up 30, and he led the Suns to victory. So, time for stat of the game. David, you're up.
Yeah, my stat of the game is Leandro Barbosa. I mean, it's not really a stat, but, he is a championship. Dude played really well throughout the entire game and got asked to play defense up against Lou Will, who was scoring at will, basically, and actually kept the ball out of his hands and just did a really good job in general. And I love the Brazilian blur, so gotta show him some love.
If Leandro Barbosa himself were a stat, like he should be for a stat of the game, like we should put out a stat, I'd just go with 99. LB 99.
I mean, why isn't it just straight up 100?
Well, I guess I was thinking 2K ratings. I went with the 99.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You know,
He's more than just a number.
I was thinking emoji numbers, so
the 100.
the 100.
All right, that's fair.
Make that a stat.
That's fair. But Barbosa's been huge for us lately. I've been saying huge a lot. I don't know why. Huge. But he's been great. He's that spur off the bench that we need. No matter when we put him in, he's aggressive. He's getting buckets. He's hitting threes. He's just being the blur, and that's what we need out of him.
He is the hero we both deserve and need right now.
That's absolutely true. Okay.
I agree. We're in a place where we deserve Leandro Barbosa
and Dudley on the court at the same time. Oh, we've talked about it, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Huge.
Okay. Thank you for that once again. I'll get into my Jeez. All right. My stat of the game for this one is 7 turnovers. The Suns only committed 7 turnovers in this entire game against the Lakers. And I recently did a stat of the game where the Suns had something like 25 turnovers, and Eric Bledsoe and Alex Len each had 7 in that one. So a game where the team only turns the ball over 7 times, that's worthy of a celebration if you ask me. And I think the team's going to realize pretty quickly that it's a lot easier to win games when you're not turning it over 20 times.
Maybe that's what they're doing wrong.
They're problem
turning the ball over.
Watch out, Warriors.
And that's not just 7 turnovers from Alex Len or any other player on the team, is it?
No, that's exactly what he said.
I know. I'm reiterating how amazing it is, because we have so many games where one player has 7 turnovers, or we have 7 turnovers in like 3 minutes.
Yeah,
that's a good stat. That might be my favorite stat of the game so far.
right. It's just something that the Suns really need to make a priority. They cannot be turning the ball over like crazy. And before we get into it, Pelicans game, we turned the ball over 16 times in that one. So I think that's about our average, and we ended up losing this one to the Pelicans. So just really nice seeing those low turnover numbers and coming away with victories.
Yes, for sure. And that Lakers game was fun. And I know I just poked fun at Alex Len, but he was great in this game. He had 14 points and 13 rebounds. 5 of those were offensive rebounds. And he also had Owen just showing what he could be. If he can get that more consistently, still waiting to see that come through. But in this game, it was really
Right, and Alex Len is he's kind of falling into that same boat as Brandon Knight is, for me at least. You just the looking like a superstar one night and then looking like a end of the bench guy the next. Maybe not superstar. I saw David roll his eyes a little bit when I said that.
I was thinking like he becomes like actually like a basketball player at one game, and then
a post presence, a down low presence.
I mean, like, we go over how like he has the consistency issues, and like the Pelicans game he went 1 for 5. I mean, that's not what you want your center to have.
No, and that's true. That's true. It would have been great to see.
Sorry, this is your stat of the game. We're supposed to be talking about how good Alex Len was, not pooping on him. Leads into the Pelicans. Yay! Nope, that's what the Hawks say. What do the Pelicans say? They have that weird hype video whenever they went on Reddit, so we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
Something about a smoothie, I think.
Baby Kings.
Yeah, if we're going to get into the Pelicans game, just one thing before we get started with. At least the Suns have never had a fan handcuff themselves to the front door of the arena demanding the head coach to be fired. I mean, even Horner shit didn't do anything like that.
I mean, no, you're right. You right, fam.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened here in Phoenix, but
it's called Smoothie King Arena. Like, a guy handcuffed himself when you find out that that's the arena where the Pelicans play.
Yep, great stuff. So let's get into recapping this one. And the last time the Suns matched up against the Pelicans, Devin Booker hit a beautiful shot in the corner to send the game to overtime. Then once we were in overtime, the Suns executed a great inbounds play and hit TJ Warren on a back cut to the bucket for the game-winning two-handed slam. And we'll talk about TJ in a little bit here too. But tonight's game, or last night's game, went into overtime as well, but did not end in the Suns' favor. Final score 120-119. And this was another one. The Suns looked solid out of the gates, and it was another case of just not being able to close out a game. And a couple positive notes about this one, though. I really liked seeing the balanced scoring in the first half. Those first half stats, Barbosa had 11, Bledsoe had 10, PJ and Booker each had 9, Chandler had 8. I just really like seeing everybody getting their chances to score, and guys like PJ and Chandler, that's not in the offense for them to be getting those shots. That's just them being in the right place at the right time, or like Chandler getting an offensive rebound and then putting it back in for 2. So, and then the other thing I want to talk about a bit is the 3-point shooting. Suns went 14 for 41 from downtown on this one, and they were really hot right out of the gates from behind the line. And it's just nice to see the team getting some more shots up from deep compared to lately, and then seeing some of those go down too. So comment on that if you want, but otherwise just hit that stat of the game, David.
Yeah, so I kind of want to talk about Tyson a little bit, give him some love. I think a lot of people talk bad about him and kind of throw him under the bus with how we are, and you talk about how his contract's bad and all that kind of stuff, but he had 21 boards tonight, and I think there are a lot of games where he's just boxing out and not really getting those boards, or there are games where Alex Len is a lot more of a presence and plays some more minutes, so his board numbers get deflated a bit. But Tyson was in there the entire time. He wasn't on Davis, but he was still just doing a really good job of securing those rebounds. And I put on our little document that we share back and forth, I said Tyson with the big boy boards, and I like that alliteration, so I'm sticking with it. Gotta love Tyson.
Those big boy boards, I like that. And yeah, I just love when you hear our announcer say Tyson Chandler with the double-double, and you look at the clock, it's the third quarter with just a few minutes into it, and Chandler's getting that double-double. Hasn't had a ton of double-doubles this year, but we know he's missed quite a few games, and we're trying to work Len in, so he's not getting tons of minutes, but you know he's capable of doing it when he does get the minutes. Okay, so I'll get into mine, and even though we took the L in this one, I was really impressed with how the Suns contained Anthony Davis. And so my stat of the game is 14 points scored by the Brow. And heading into this one, I believe he was the leading scorer in the NBA. So if you remember back to this last overtime game against the Pelicans, PJ Tucker shut down Anthony Davis late in that game, and it allowed us to come back and send that into overtime and even pull out the overtime victory. So it seems like we might know a little something about how to contain Anthony Davis. So that's something good to know for the future, at least. I mean, we can tell that Suns versus Pelicans games don't really mean much right now, but maybe in the future they'll mean more, and we have that recipe to stop Davis, hopefully.
Not the recipe to stop Langston Galloway, though.
Or the GOAT, Tim Frazier, with a triple-double.
The GOAT, Tim Frazier with a triple-double. And then, who's the guy? 17 points out of Reggie Williams?
Who in the world is Reggie Williams?
I think they just brought him on the team. I think he's been there for 2 games. And yeah, 17 points. He was 4 for 5 from downtown. He kind of punished us. He was their secret weapon. That's why they got the victory.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that was it. Not that we gave up 34 points in the fourth quarter or anything like that.
No,
our defense is trash is also part of the reason.
But on a more positive note, for my stat of the game, Eric Bledsoe played 40 minutes and had 32 points. This was his second 30-plus point game in a row. He's been playing really well, and we talked last week specifically about being frustrated about how when guys have a hot hand going, they get taken out. This was not the case tonight. He played a bunch, and almost to a fault, he started trying to force things there toward the end, but I was okay with it and I was just happy to see that.
Yeah, I didn't even really feel like he was really forcing anything. I felt like he was our only consistent offense, which he was, and he was just doing what he could to get us that win. And I mean, he hit a ton of layups that they looked like they had no chance of going in. So
Yeah, he did. But I mean,
Right.
yeah, for sure.
Totally. So Bledsoe's averaging 21.5 points in December so far.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really been the guy that's been keeping us close in these games, making these tight fourth quarter games possible even. So, I mean, we all know that Bledsoe's the man this season, so far at least. And I do have a gripe about this game, though. At the end of regulation, we got the ball. We rebounded it. I believe there was 19 seconds left. We slowly brought the ball up the court. Bledsoe dribbled near half court. You can't even call that the top of the key. He was closer to half court. Dribbled it up until there was about 6 seconds left before he started to make his move. And he pulled that three from 3 to 4 feet behind the three-point line. I mean, yes, Eric Bledsoe is the guy I want shooting that shot to end the game, but I think we really could have made something a little better than that happen. I mean, he even had more success getting to the bucket, getting to the rim and throwing up a Hail Mary layup tonight. I would have rather seen that, but why not go to the pick and roll in that with where was that at? I just would have liked to see some more movement other than just how that stagnated the whole possession, and I kind of like there was momentum lost and everything. So that's my one gripe about Bledsoe. Otherwise, fantastic this month.
Yeah, that was frustrating. At the same time, I understand wanting to kind of get a jump shot because you do have Anthony Davis, who is one of the league's best shot blockers right now in the paint. So I can understand that. I would have liked to have seen maybe some more action with like a spread pick and roll or something. Maybe try and get Davis out of the paint and then let Bledsoe drive. And then if Anthony Davis starts coming in, then maybe you get an open 3-point shot. Of course, that's looking back on it now. And as much as I would have wanted to drive, I was kind of just okay with it because Bledsoe did do so much to get us there to begin with. So
yeah, that's true.
And still did so much in overtime as well, I guess.
I mean, you both make good points. I would have liked to see him take a shot maybe 3 feet closer to the hoop.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair gripe, but
That's definitely fair.
Maybe an elbow jumper instead of a
yeah,
three.
exactly, you know.
He didn't need a three. It was tied.
Yeah, right. Get a screen, pull up at the elbow, get a little separation, shoot, whatever, you know. It was tied.
He was also gassed.
Yeah,
probably.
that too.
Very
that
true.
too.
I mean, by that point he had played, what was it, like 36 minutes, something
40,
like that?
40 minutes.
No, at that point. Like,
at that
At the
point.
end of regulation.
Or
yeah,
OT.
yeah.
36,
Yeah,
37
probably-
minutes, something like that.
Right, yeah, probably.
That's probably right. Yeah.
So, I mean, like, he was gassed. I mean, he was putting that on, probably saving a little bit of that energy for the OT, which he did do some damage in OT. So, I mean, just there's a lot of nitpicky that you can do. I mean, if you're looking back at this month, Devin Booker's shot 7 of 28 from 3 so far. I mean, our 3-point shooting woes are just really bad, and they just keep on continuing. I feel like some combination of Barbosa and Dudley, one or the other, both are probably our most reliable 3-point shooters. Which I know, yeah, Dudley, that's kind of his thing, but you would think we would be able to space out the floor a little bit better. There's a lot this month where I think that we're starting to get worn out a little bit and kind of demoralized a little bit, I think, as well.
Yeah, and this works perfectly because we're getting TJ Warren back hopefully very soon. And this is a guy whose 3-point percentage has improved each year as a pro, and He's almost putting up those 18 points per game, and he does a good job of spreading the floor, and maybe he'll be the one to pick that up for us a little bit. And TJ was back at practice Saturday for the first time in about 3 weeks. So he didn't play in Sunday night's game against the Pelicans, but it's just very encouraging to know that he'll be rejoining the team real soon. So probably after he gets another practice under his belt, maybe that's when he'll be ready to go. But like we've been saying, those 18 points per game before the injury, those are going to be happily welcomed points by the Suns. Those will take a lot of pressure off guys like Tucker and Dudley to score, even though, I mean, we like watching Tuck hit those corner threes, no doubt, but it's not. We don't need PJ scoring bunches of points. So about TJ, got 2 questions for you guys. Will he be able to pick up right where he left off before the injury? And what do you guys think this will do to the rotation once he gets worked back in?
Yeah, starting with just the first question, he probably, I don't know if it's going to take him too long to get back in. I think he might be a little rusty. This was a head injury. It wasn't necessarily like a leg injury or anything. I don't think that it's necessarily going to slow him down that much. I think he might just be rusty just a little bit getting into the flow of the game because of the injury. I don't think it'll be anything about the athleticism or anything of that kind of thing. I think he could easily miss a couple shots here, or like especially to start off of maybe getting him a little wide, bouncing him off the back of the rim, just that kind of stuff, just kind of getting back into it, have a couple of defensive lapses, turnover here or there. He's playing really strong and was a little bit higher points per game, except for those last 2-3 games that he played where he got hurt. So I'm really excited to see that. I don't think it's going to be like a couple of games to get him back into the flow. I think it might be like a game maybe, and he'll be pretty much back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I was going to say essentially the same thing. Give him 1 or 2 games. His conditioning should still be there. He'll be ready to go, but he'll need a game or 2 to just get back into the flow, like you said. But when it comes to the rotation, I think there's some different options, and I'm interested to see what happens. One possibility is that PJ Tucker continues to start instead of Warren, which that's not what I'm hoping for. Again, maybe for a game or 2 that would be fine, but I would like to see TJ reclaim his starting role. And the other thing that we had talked about was possibly having Dudley start again, but he's just been great off the bench. So there's some decisions to be made, but ultimately I think it needs to go back to TJ starting as soon as he's ready.
Yeah, looking at how things have kind of gone, I expect and am kind of nervous for how the rotations are going to start going. I'm a little afraid that Watson is a little hesitant to throw TJ into the mix and get him back into that starting role, and he might either not want to sit Chris, even though Chris is Chris is only playing like the start of the first and the start of the third, which is kind of frustrating, but whatever. And I'm also kind of nervous that TJ getting back in will just eat into the few minutes that Bender gets, which I really want to see both Chris and Bender play. But if I was going to cut minutes from anyone, it'd probably be PJ. And Tucker's great and you love him for his hustle and everything, but offensively, and even Warren on the defensive end was playing better than Tucker before he went out. And you could say that was Tucker still working back in, but I think it's safe to say that I am nervous for some of the Suns' tendencies in the past that will end up just bringing Warren off the bench and starting Tucker and keeping the better guy on the bench.
Right, and since Warren went out, it really feels like Coach Watson has kind of shored up the rotation a bit, and it seems like we know a bit more what we're going to expect. We've been seeing Bender come in earlier. And, when we're playing Dudley and Tucker more at the 3, it really balances the lineup a bit, I guess would be a good way to put it, rather than having Warren in with Tucker or Warren in with Dudley. It seems like a tough mix to get two of those guys playing at the same time. It has to be against the right matchup. So like you said, I don't want to see minutes go away from Bender or Chris at all. I think what we've been doing with those guys lately has been great. So, man, I know I want to see Warren get eased back into the rotation, but I definitely want to see him getting 30 minutes per game once he's back ready and rocking. But yeah, if I had to say something, I'd have to agree with you and say those minutes need to come from PJ, and then maybe take a few from Dudley to throw back to PJ, something like that. That's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking if you take maybe a minute from Bender or like 2 minutes from Bender, if you take 2 minutes from Chris and you cut PJ's minutes. I mean, PJ played what, like 32 minutes tonight, I think it was. Yeah. No, 42, sorry. Yeah, so if you take 20 minutes from Tucker and then have Warren basically playing 24 minutes, I'm okay with having Dudley at 19 off the bench. I'm totally okay with that. I mean, guard-wise, maybe if you took a couple from Barbosa, just so that way we're having less of Booker at the 3, you could say that, because we have had a lot of minutes where, recently at least, where it's been Bledsoe or Knight plus Barbosa plus Booker, and, we can run that and it's fine. I think that you might see some minutes taken from Barbosa as well to maybe give them to Warren.
Hey, if we're taking minutes from Barbosa, you might as well take a couple from Knight, too.
I would rather take minutes from Knight than Barbosa, because Barbosa's been playing his tail off. He's been one of the dudes that stepped up when Warren's been out. I mean, Bledsoe stepped up a little bit more. Barbosa has really stepped up. So, and that's what kind of is frustrating, and I'm afraid that we're going to fall into some of our old Suns tendencies of just not cutting minutes from the guys that needed to be cut. I mean, how long did it take for Alex Len to get minutes over Miles Plumlee? I know that was Hornacek and not Watson, but I mean, that took a season longer than it needed to, probably. We never had TJ start over Tucker. Warren start over Tucker. That's such a pain to actually say. We never had Warren start over Tucker until this year, and it was because Tucker was out, and I have a feeling that we might not have given Warren the keys if Tucker was not or was healthy. So that's just one of those things that I'm really nervous about, and relying on some of those older guys when we should just be pumping those minutes. And Knight has not been playing like a sixth man. He's been playing like much worse. And I know he has had some games here or there, but I mean, it's you want to give your old guys time and have a chance to win, but if you're going to do that, then you might as well just cut the minutes from Knight and give it to the old guy in Barbosa and keep his minutes up.
Yeah, I just want to see Warren come back and get some minutes, and if we have to mix up this rotation and try to figure out what works again, I'm fine with it. We have plenty of time. No rush here in Phoenix. Okay, we just talked about Jeff Hornacek a bit ago, so let's get into this game preview against the Knicks. And it's big time. Hornacek's first trip back into Phoenix since he got fired here and took that Knicks job. So, this Knicks team, it's pretty impressive with Carmelo, Porzingis, and a healthy Derrick Rose. Healthy-ish Derrick Rose. Sort of healthy Derrick Rose. You know what I mean, but how do you think our Suns
there too?
Yeah, that is true. But how are the Suns going to handle these Knicks?
So we need to send Paul Coro and a couple other press people into the Knicks locker room and just start stirring up all of the stirred upness. Yes, I'm gonna roll with that. Because this Knicks team, while they have been playing pretty decently, is also kind of a train wreck and kind of a soap opera. So if we can just Days of Our Lives them, we might have a chance.
I like it.
Yeah, I really like that. I think we have a chance too. You know, we have PJ Tucker who has stopped. You know, he's limited Paul George. He's really helped stopping Anthony Davis. It's going to be a tall order for, you know, the third guy like that he has to stop in a row. But whatever, we can do it. Or I guess it's not in a row because we had the Lakers game. But
You know, he really slowed down Luol Deng.
Yeah.
That doesn't take
But,
much effort now.
no,
I think Luol Deng slows down
I
himself.
think-
So
I just think we really do have a chance in this game. But the Knicks are a very, very interesting team. Because some nights you watch and you're like, oh, wow, they could be like a 3 or 4 seed in the East. And some nights you watch and they look like the worst team in the East. So they're all over the place. It'll be interesting to see how they look against us.
Right, and you know, if I had a coin to flip, I'd say which one of these guys is going to go off against the Suns, Carmelo or Porzingis. And for some reason, I feel like Carmelo has PJ's number. I think Carmelo always seems to always put up big points against the Suns. And who are we going to have guard Porzingis? Well, is it going to be Chris or Chandler? Either way, I don't like either of those matchups. Maybe Chris, just for that athleticism and maybe be able to beat him up and down the court a little bit. But these guys just don't match up great against us. Well, we don't match up great against them, so it'll be an interesting one.
Against, though.
I was going to say the
No
76ers, but they beat us this year, so yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's kind of sad. I don't even want to think about that.
So if we're gonna talk about the Knicks, we're gonna talk about the triangle. We're gonna talk about Hornacek. We're gonna talk about Carmelo. We're gonna talk about Porzingis. A guy that we haven't talked about and has been playing really well on the Knicks is Brandon Jennings, who kind of signed for a low deal to go to New York and play there, and is playing better than Derrick Rose, arguably. Maybe not arguably. And is playing really good. So you got to be worried about him completely destroying Brandon Knight. So something else to look out for.
Yeah, that could be a tough matchup.
Yep, that's very true. Do they ever? Well, it's Jeff Hornacek. They got to run a little 2-point guard, right, with Rose and Jennings.
I honestly have not watched a single Knicks game, so I cannot tell you.
Well, it's Hornacek. I'm assuming they do that. So even Devin Booker on either one of those guys is a bit worrisome. They're both really quick, explosive type guys, and that's kind of what Booker has trouble sticking around with. He has the height on him, but he can get blown by in those situations. So that'll be an interesting guy to watch for this one too. And I think we're going to end this one the way we always do. Well, maybe now just once a week we're going to do this, but we'll see how it goes. Time for David's Comic Book Corner, Mitch's Face Melting Minute, and then I have some bad stuff to talk about, so it's not very fun.
Yay.
I'm sorry. It's, you know what, I'm just going to go first because now that I said it, I think I have to. It's sports related, but really it's man related. This is a man related plug. I don't know. Whatever. David's pouring one out right now. Ryan Tannehill took one to the knee today against Calais Campbell on the Cardinals. So I don't want to talk smack against the Cardinals since this is a Arizona sports team related podcast. But got him at the knee. and Tanny was down. You could tell he was in pain, and he hobbles off the field, goes back to the locker room, comes back onto the field with the shoulder pads off, got a baseball hat on, and you see he's wiping tears. The teammates are coming up, giving him hugs, and man, I was just really, man, I was emotional at that moment. I'm not going to lie. The Dolphins haven't been in a playoff hunt in quite a while, and we won this game against the Cardinals. We're tied with the Broncos now for that. Yeah, it's close for that wild card, but now that Tannehill's out for the season, we know it's an ACL, but we're not sure the extent of it, but he's done for the season. I just got a feel for the guy. He's done a great job leading the team, and that was just an emotional moment. It was just a bummer. So pour one out for old Tanny. We didn't protect the hill quite well enough tonight, so bummer.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. You never want to see a guy get hurt like that.
You know what? I need to be cheered up. It's time for David's comic book corner.
Guys, it's actually kind of strange. So I'm
Whoa,
looking.
whoa,
I'm
whoa,
hold on,
whoa.
hold on. I'm looking at my computer, and I think I'm getting hacked by a unknown person, and I don't know what's happening.
Man.
I'm kind of like just looking at everything, and my screen's going all crazy. There's some crazy stuff, and I don't know what's going on. Gotham City. If you wanted a story looking for Harvey Dent, this isn't that story. Could you imagine me with a son? Yeah, me neither. That would kind of suck. I kind of go after crazy villains with mental issues all the time. But imagine if I got raped and had a son. And I blamed Liam Neeson's daughter for making him crazy. But then I found out that I'm almost just as crazy. And then you have Batman and Robin, Born to Kill, by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. And it's pretty great. And I think it really captures my essence. And on that note, I'm the Dark Knight. Harvey Dent! Where is he? On. Yep, I figured it out, and it was termites. It was definitely termites. And by termites, I mean giant bat-dressed men that are not termites.
Well, that makes sense now then. So, all right, Mitch, you better carry us home, man.
Yeah, that was a little strange, but I liked it. The album I'm gonna plug today is one that I plugged a long time ago, but I don't think we ever got that recording out because we had to redo, so I'm gonna plug it now. And the album is That's the Spirit by Bring Me the Horizon. This is an album that I've been listening to nonstop after not listening to it for a while. And my favorite songs on it are Doomed, Happy Song, Follow You, Avalanche, Drown, and Oh No. It's only 45 minutes long, so it's really quick. It's a lot different from most of their stuff, a lot softer, but I really enjoy these songs, so check it out.
Spirit. That's the spirit. I love that album.
Exactly.
It's great. It's so great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening this week. Check us out on Twitter under the handle @SunnyandPHXPod. Find us on Facebook under the name Phoenix Suns, multiple sources. Hit us up through email with questions or suggestions at sunnyandphxpod@gmail.com. head over to the website at sunnyandphxpod.com and the entire Multiple Sources blog and podcast network. Thanks again for tuning in, and go Suns.